Come on, come on. We are not doing a Jumanji. No! So, crossover platform fighters. Since the course of gaming history, the genre of fighter games has evolved and grown in popularity like no other. Such heights that even competitive tournaments are held for the likes of Super Smash Bros., Brawlhalla, and so many more examples. Of course, Super Smash Bros. Is considered the best of the best and the pioneer of the subgenre of platform fighters. A great game series with an even better cast of playable characters and detail. You know what was even better than all that? Smash made money, and I mean lots of it. As of December of 2024, the latest in the Smash series, Smash Bros. Ultimate, has sold 35 million plus copies. With the rise of mascot fighters throughout the 2010s and 2020s, many companies and studios wanted a slice of that pie. This be from the likes of Nickelodeon's All-Stars to the most promising of them all, and the subject of today's video, Multiversus. Such a promising and exciting game to being shut down in the next upcoming months, I have to ask, what's up with Multiversus? Before we get into the mess that is the shutdown of this game, let's go back to the beginning. 2021-ish. In the grand community of the subreddit r/gaming leaks and rumors, the world of gamers was ripe and fresh with new content when one day a new leak dropped titled NetherRealm Leak.
Got info on the new NetherRealm game. Obviously a burner account, but just save this post. Trust me. The new NetherRealm game is a Warner Bros. Crossover platform fighter. Yes, new IP technically. Yes, it is based off Smash Bros. And now Nickelodeon All-Stars. This one was in the works before Nickelodeon was even announced. It's a tag team game. Not sure if that means you pick two characters and switch between them, or if each character is actually a pair, or if each character is an individual and you switch when you lose a stock. All I know is there's synergy between certain characters, which implies custom teams. Characters I can confirm are in the game. Shaggy, Gandalf, Tom and Jerry, Batman, Fred Flintstone, Mad Max, Harry Potter, and Ron are apparently in Johnny Bravo. I know some more, but I'm holding off on sharing until after the game's revealed. I was told that the origin of this game was actually due to the memes based around Shaggy getting into Mortal Kombat in his Ultra Instinct form. Obviously, NetherRealm wasn't going to put him in a game like Mortal Kombat, so ideas were tossed around and Warner Bros. Loved the idea of combining their properties and establishing more Warner crossovers, as you obviously saw in Space Jam 2. This is all I have to share right now. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you're going to look back at this post soon and wonder how the fuck this was actually real. No idea when it's being announced, but it's been in development for a while. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's at the Game Awards or showed early next year. No idea though. Edit. Now I can be 100% certain this is it, but it's worth taking a look at. At the very least, it's proof that what I'm saying isn't hearsay, but I don't know what the game's name, so I can't confirm. Was sent this by an anonymous source after I leaked that also can confirm the game exists.
This Reddit post is the earliest discussion I could find of anything Multiversus related. Seemingly, NetherRealm, the studio behind the Mortal Kombat series since around 2010, was attached to the game, and multiple characters were leaked for the game already. The roster is so fun, but we'll get back to that later in this video. In this Reddit, we see that the game was inspired by the countless memes around the time of the Ultra Instinct Shaggy, something that would actually be part of the official moveset of Shaggy in the future. It was also very obvious how important Space Jam 2 was with this game, not only with the whole crossover aspect, but also how much Warner loves to flex the properties they own. Around this time, lots of speculation had begun due to the game not even officially having a title. But as time progressed, more information came out, such as Hungrybox, a pro Smash Bros. Player getting an image of the game's roster, and the later news that the game would actually not be from NetherRealm. Eventually though, after various leaks and the trademark for Multiversus appeared around September of 2021, the official announcement happened. In November of 2021, Multiversus was officially announced, with the new game studio Player First Games being the ones behind it. The announcement was given lots of positivity and hope for a great game, with many seeing the potential of a Smash Bros. Style game in the world of Warner Bros. It was very clear that the team behind Multiversus wanted the game to respect the players and the players to respect them, with how much attention to detail there was with gameplay shown, movesets, and especially the return of voice casts such as Kevin Conroy, as Batman and John DiMaggio as Jake the Dog. The announcement came from the co-founder of Player First Games, Tony Wynn, and trust me, we have lots more to talk about him. Tony was very involved in the community. I remember during the first announcement, I would constantly be checking his tweets in order to be as caught up with the game as possible. Characters like Steven Universe against Batman sounded like a dream, and Adventure Time, one of the greatest series ever. Alongside this announcement was a sign-up for the early access, which began on July 19th, 2022. A week later, July 26th, was when the open beta for the game began. Oh my, was this such a fun time for me. The summer before my first job and entering junior year of high school, all the time in the world, and I spent a lot of it playing this beta for the majority of the time alongside with Warzone and Minecraft. This game felt like a breath of fresh air in the platform fighting genre, with the developers listening to its fans and improving what they needed to. It felt like a dream. I continually stalked Multiversus, Player First, and Tony Wynn for any updates, and adored the memes that came from the game's dialogue and cast. Bringing Walter White to the Multiversus was one of the greatest movements ever, and as time progressed, so did the roster. What started as a roster of 13 went to 16, then eventually 23. The cast was fun and random too. Well, except the obvious obligatory ads for the latest movies, such as Black Adam and freaking LeBron James. What? The game also just lacked a variety of maps. One of the things that kept Smash Bros. So fresh was its countless maps based on the game's properties. Each one felt so different from the next. Multiverse started with only 8 different stages, with one of them just being a training stage. This wasn't a big issue though, because the game felt fun and fast-paced. The game was meant for teamwork, with the main mode being 2v2s, but it also allowed for 1v1s and a free-for-all after a few updates. The game was really fun, and the look of it was just nice overall. The game had bugs, of course. Not that bugs, I mean these bugs. But it was still enjoyable for the majority of the fanbase, even with the Finn backpack spammers. The main issues I can remember at the time were 3 things: the unfair matchmaking, the pay or grind to unlock characters, and the Founder Pass. Now, the Founder Pass was something players could purchase prior to the release of the open beta, which gave them early access and benefits. Only problem was the cost of these 3 passes, ranging from $39.99 to $99.99. All of the benefits from these purchases would only be for players who'd consistently play, which made the next event to happen very triggering to these loyal payers and players. The game was initially a hit, peaking at around 153,000 players on Steam alone, but shortly after, by June of 2022, the game had already lost majority of its players, with its numbers dropping severely. Even I, after the summer of 2022, decided to stop playing, just because I had grown bored of the same thing over and over. And by the time that ranks and more stuff was added, it had already been a little too late. And so on March 27th of 2023, Tony Wynn returned to announce that the game's beta would be coming to a close just after winning Best Fighting Game of the Year at the DICE Awards. But this is exciting. That means the game's fully dropping, right? Well, not exactly. Instead, the game was being entirely shut down online on June 25th of the same year with an early 2024 re-release set. The shutdown aimed to fix any complaints the player base had and to improve many mechanics such as the progression, new modes, maps, characters, and so much more. This announcement came to the surprise of many, but a lot of players were hopeful that the revamp would be good. A lot of Founder Pass and open beta players were pretty upset due to the fact that now they wouldn't be able to use their purchased skins and characters other than local play. But there was a promise that anything earned in the beta would return once the game fully relaunched. By April 4th of the same year, the game had been taken out of all storefronts temporarily. For younger people, just think about the TikTok one-day ban. As the day passed, June 25th hit, and the open beta for Multiversus had officially closed down. And then, nothing. For nearly a year, it was silent since the announcement of March 27th. The Multiversus Instagram went silent the month before, and so had the Multiversus Twitter by June of 2023. There were small hints of the return, such as a Happy Holidays Instagram post. Not much came out of the game, other than more leaks or unused characters, voice lines, and maps. Well, we'll see them in the full game, right? But still, this wasn't enough. We want the game back. And so, March 5th of 2024 came around, nearly a full year since the announcement of the game's shutdown, and we received the tweet.
Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Boom. We are so back. Suddenly, McDonald's started selling Multiversus Happy Meals. They were crap, but we're so back. Hints at something happening with Tony on March 11th started popping up all around. Loads of people were super excited for the game's return, including me. But anyways, finally, we've gotten a release date, May 28th, baby! Promotion for the game was full steam ahead. Yeah, a lot of the fan base had ditched the game, but there was still a niche player base ready to come back, and the hype was pretty fun around the time. More and more reveals, Twitch drops, hockey games? I swear, Multiversus was the first time I saw players replaced by animated characters. Now The Simpsons and Toy Story have done it? Whatever. The game was so back, and on May 8th, we received our first trailer for the game's return, and holy crap, the Joker and Dexter's Laboratory as a stage? Then on May 17th, Banana Guard? Yes! And for one last time, we got the official launch trailer, dropping on May 20th, just 8 days before the game's launch, and my excitement went through the roof. Agent Smith, Jason from Friday the 13th was so unexpected. It was insanity watching this grand cinematic promising one of the best platform fighters to return, better than ever, and then May 28th came around. The game was massively overhauled with the re-release. Some changes being the story mode, in quotations, being a PvE called Rifts, better visuals, and a new netcode. The new release included essentially starting the game over from the beginning and moving its engine from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5. While the game looks better now, the gameplay was a whole different story. The new engine and gameplay became so slow. Just look at the difference between the beta and the official release. It's drastic. It makes the gameplay drag so badly. The character's balance was so horrendous, and alongside all these new changes were new currencies and so many new features and skins. So, money or grind your life away. I remember being so excited to play the official release of Multiversus, but my crappy laptop would crash every 5 seconds into a match. So eventually, I just borrowed my friend's Xbox One to play, and oh my god. I liked it, but the game was just so different when it came to how it felt. From this fast-paced, chaotic game to this awkward-paced fighting experience that wasn't very good. And the community agreed. People started exclaiming the superiority of the beta. Then, there's the battle pass and extra missions. Holy grind. One of the main reasons I personally quit the game halfway through the second season was this horrible grind mindset in order to progress any level. During the first season, early access to Agent Smith was possible alongside variant skins for free, but only if you grinded the same story rift in different difficulties, which was just annoying. Nobody's got time for that when the game got boring for an hour or two daily. So, I dropped the game with lots of others. The PvE story mode was cool, but felt like a sideline in the game. With such a grand cast of voice actors and characters, so much more could have been done other than 1 or 2 story cutscenes maybe happening and the rest being just text dialogue. The grind amount on these just became extremely repetitive and boring after just a few weeks. Other changes, like the annoying UI and ugly new menu compared to the original, I prefer the beta's menu. The game was less than a hit for casual and hardcore players, and it was only downhill from here. After the launch, and the many issues the game had became too much for players, things progressively got worse. With such a lack of updates for Multiversus and the fact that the game had become so money and microtransaction focused, player rates were dropping fast. Only 2 months after the release of the game, in July of 2024, Warner Brothers officially acquired Player First Games, with Tony Wynn remaining as the leader of the company. With this acquisition, Warner Brothers promised the improvement of Multiversus with the newly closer relationship, but this was only a sign of the next to come. Around this time was the drastic downfall of Warner Brothers, which we still are experiencing today, especially in the gaming world. In February of 2024, Warner, in collaboration with Rocksteady Games, released a disaster that was Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. The game was unanimously slandered, with the live service design, alongside its horrible gameplay and story, ultimately leading to what Warner Bros. Discovery reported a $200 million loss. It was clear Warner had no idea what to do with their properties and countless stacks of money. Just look at their streaming service Max. release Coyote vs. Acme and Batgirl. Please. By November of 2024, it had been reported that Multiversus had already cost the company $100 million and more in losses. With this being one of the final straws for Warner, the shutdown was imminent. By January 31st, 2025, Warner Bros. Games announced officially that they would stop support for Multiversus in Season 5 of the game, stopping any online play by May 30th of the same year, only a year and 2 days more than when the game first officially came out. Already, the final patch and seasonal update was on the 14th of the same month, and so the state of the game would remain the same until then. This decision from Warner was pretty upsetting to hear, but it was very predictable. In the gaming industry, Warner Bros. Has been struggling, with the most recent news being cancellations for the Wonder Woman game and Monolithic Productions being shut down. Alongside that studio shutdown, effective on February 25th of this year, Player First Games also sadly shut their doors. The craziest part of this whole situation was the fact that the final patch for this game fixed some major issues that players had, but sadly, it was way too late. And as the days got closer, more features were taken away, some such as the in-game purchasing. Ultimately, lots of controversy and anger sparked from this shutdown, starting with the Founder Pass. Remember a bit ago I told you guys about the $99 pass? Well, one of the features of owning the pass was something called character tokens. Want to know something even cooler? That $99 pass gives you 30 of those. These tokens were able to redeem fighters for quote-unquote free. The game, in its beta, already had a big roster of around 23, with only 12 more being added in the game. Back in the beta, it was super easy to unlock some of these characters with the gold, and so many of these players bought the $99 pass in order to unlock future characters. With that, a lot of players were never truly able to use up all of these in-game currencies they had before the shutdown, such as the now useless character tokens. A lot of players felt legally scammed, demanding for refunds or some type of compensation, with other fans trying to exclaim that it was those who paid's fault for putting faith on, Warner and a live service game. But even with the total of 35 fighters, loads of hardcore fans would have most likely saved these tokens for future characters, such as the leaked fighters. Since the beginning of the Multiversus rumors, there have been countless leaks of fighters, such as Gandalf from all the way back in the beginning. I remember hearing Raven's voice lines being leaked all the way back in the beta, and we only got her added at the end of 2024. The list of characters that were rumored or even leaked range from Mortal Kombat characters to Emmett from the Lego Movie. Many of these characters would have been great choices, but instead, what came out in the game only felt like tie-in ads, which led to a lot of backlash throughout the game's history. Some examples of these were LeBron James in Space Jam 2, Beetlejuice with Beetlejuice 2, with Black Adam even having a movie-accurate Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. While it made sense to have a tie-in to profit better, the choices of characters such as Black Adam, Nubia, who I've never heard of until her addition, and the odd 90s Lola Bunny sexual variant could have been replaced with better fighters. The fact that the game was giving spots to tie in with new releasing content outside of the game became signs of what was to come, with the controversy and allegations against Player First Games and Warner Bros. Turning to those against Tony Wynn. At the beginning of February of this year, on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors Reddit, a user had compiled various comments from a user claiming to be involved in Multiversus monetization. I won't read all of these comments, but I will put a link in the description if you are interested in reading more about this user's comments on Player First Games and Tony Wynn. And remember, these are all alleged r/experienced dev.
Dealing with hating your previous employer. Now I start this post by mentioning that I am a game designer, so I am not a perfect match for this community. Nevertheless, this has to have happened to other people. If you feel you've been abused by your last job, how do people deal with the career-hurting urge to strike back? Why you hate them? Chaotic and bad leadership, which I would describe as a cycle of neglect and abuse. Founder had a good idea and sold it to a multinational media company, and now that company can't get rid of that bastard with the good idea. He just accepted a buyout though, so I suspect he'll be rich but fucked, knowing everyone but his cronies hate him and want to edge him out.
This was the first of many comments by this user, who also explained how the game wouldn't really profit with it being nearly impossible, saying,
Free to play was made, but the story is the same. It's a high risk, high reward model. If it works, you make way more money than a premium model, but the chance of succeeding is much lower because you have to get conversions. This is doubly bad in a fighting game because you can't sell power. I could sell you gacha and people accept it. That won't work in a fighting game. The players would rightly rebel. For all but the last 4 months, Player First Games was second party, independent developer. Even after the buyout, Tony was still studio head and functional design director. Similarly, the CTO didn't change. With the buyout, Warner Brothers had little or no control over the internal testing. Put simple, Tony had final say on every decision, and at most, Warner Bros. Would pressure him. This is Tony's and the CTO's failure, and it's a failure of leadership and direction. There are plenty of signs, inconsistent and flip-flopping design decisions, features driven into the ground by people who transparently don't understand how a mode could be monetization decisions that end up in a weird middle space that the players hate. Truly atrocious testing with both large gameplay bugs and data errors in events going live regularly. Toxic and chaotic dev head, especially when they were second party. And let's be honest, by the time of the buyout, it was too late.
Much more of these claims pinned Tony to be this ego-filled Elon Musk-style genius who didn't know how to lead and sold out his team the moment he could in order to profit himself. He's constantly the blame of the abuse and horrible monetization and for selling out ultimately. Not long after this collection of responses were made, this post blew up, with many divisive but siding against Win and Player First Games. Alongside these allegations came another list of character leaks that were reported fake, but were still a massive spectacle and anger point for fans who genuinely wanted a lot of these characters in the game. This anger sparked into so much that death threats began to emerge in the toxic fandom fashion, and Tony Wynn had to make a statement to clear his name of any wrongdoing, which is just what he did on Twitter. In this tweet, he thanked everyone and explained how he should have spoken out sooner of the whole situation. Starting with character selection, he explained how they were chosen from time restraints and IP holders. He exclaimed that he did not have the power that the majority of the community thought he had, saying that the studio was a high collaborative team. This response came out mild for the community, with some supporting and thanking him, sourly, honestly due to the game's many issues by release, and the other side still against him. Eventually though, some developers and community members did speak up for Tony, such as Ajax and also MV. And now we're here, slowly waiting for the final days of the game. I decided to re-download and play for the first time since Season 2, and I gotta say, a lot has changed for better and worse. The game performs way better, but is still constantly having connection errors mid-game. Nowadays, we just see more and more leaks of unreleased skins and characters, and that's really what's left of Multiversus. A failed crossover platform fighter that failed to find its footing and profit. A game with the potential to have better IP than Smash Bros. Wasted. What am I supposed to do? Man, I gotta get cleaned up and go to my special library. You guys will watch him, right? Thanks. No. Don't come in, I'm nude,
Victory!
Bagel Bat, I've been looking for you. I'm putting together a special team of bagels, and I'm thinking you could lead this team. Nah, fuck you. I hate my life. Thank you all for watching another video from yours truly. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to smash the subscribe and like the button. Comment what you thought about Multiversus. Anyways, I'm going to eat a bagel or something. Also, fuck you.